I suppose the best way to get this going is start from day one of this hectic problem. Uh, and what this basically is boiled down to is the persecution of Christians. Now, that's written throughout the Bible, but I'm going to talk about the persecution of today's Christians. I happen to be a Christian. Woman I love is a Christian. And the Satan wants to keep us apart. I call them Satan soldiers. He's got a bunch of them. And just the two of us have been fighting it. And he separated us. The court system's all corrupt, it seems. All part of Satan's army. It started, this problem here started way back December of last year. On the 13th, when this widow lady had a congestive heart failure. And she was taken to the hospital. Spent 3 days there, came out, and her daughter said, now I can put you in an extended care facility of some kind, and you can't do nothing about it. Well, I kind of blew my stack, and I said, I can do something about it. I can fight it, and I will fight it. She doesn't need to be going to any assisted living, nursing home, or anything like that. She's got a house right here. She's got enough funds to take care of that house and her medical needs, and she's got me. Well, we had a sit-to about that. She made an appointment for her daughter, or her mother, I should say, to be evaluated by a doctor the following day. And when they come back, left the doctor's office, I was a little concerned. It's getting after closing hours, and I texted the daughter, and I said, I know we don't get along, but I'm a little concerned here. You're not home yet. And I said, I'm fixing to check with the police, something, you had an accident or what? Well, I got a text back saying that, well, we're waiting for results from the lab. And now this is after 5 o'clock. The lab doesn't work that late. They don't give you immediate results anyway. But it turned out that the daughter told her mother, I'm not taking you home until you throw that man out of the house. Now, it's already been determined that her mother had come down with early stages of dementia. And that's no way to talk to a woman with that condition, especially coming from the hospital with her heart problems. And when, she yelled at her mother, you got to go to an extended care facility because you're dying. She wasn't dying. But because she would not take her mother home, her mother decided she wasn't going to ride with her anymore. So when she had to go follow up with the heart doctor said, it's a serious matter, but it's not life-threatening. Well, I told the daughter, I said, boy, that's good news. The daughter said, not really. Wow. What kind of daughter am I talking to here? So, and daughter had a conversation with the primary doctor of this lady, and they decided that it was best if I was removed from that house. This was made in court records by the daughter's attorney. So anyway, a VAPO order was put out against me, Vulnerable Adult Protection Order. And it was full of lies. half-truths and speculation. And they appointed a court visitor that was really an investigator. And the investigator couldn't find any improprieties that I was guilty of. But yet they held it over for another hearing, a month or so down the road. And the doctor had already told this lady that she was having memory problems, but she currently was able to make her own decisions, but not 6 months from now. Well, by delaying this court proceedings and keeping me away from the house, they essentially put this woman in solitary confinement in her own house. She had no contact with another human being. And it was, she called me all the time, and I'd tell her, I can't talk to you. It's court order. The police called me and warned me about talking to her. I said, I don't call her, she calls me. And he said, well, don't answer the phone. So I quit answering the phone. I abided by the court all the way through. But they kept on postponing, and then, of course, it accelerated this woman's dementia. And they allowed me back there for a few weeks, and they found another phony excuse to have me thrown out again. And that was done on April 22nd. This all started on the 11th of January. And then, by the way, the 11th of January, the final statement that was filmed, recorded on a film, where I asked the judge, I said, well, who's going to take care of her if you're going to put me out? And the lady stood up and she said, I do not want my daughter or my grandson taking care of me. And the judge said, we will get somebody to take care of you, and it will not be your daughter or grandson. That never happened. In fact, they ended up putting a guardian over this lady who gave the daughter caregiving duties along with the grandson. The grandson moved in the house, and they fortified the prison that they'd built up in this house, and the grandson actually put locks on the door of his bedroom and put security films all over. And I was allowed to visit, but I could only visit during daylight hours, and I couldn't spend the night there. Well, I lived 200 miles away, so I couldn't do this too often. And the guardian froze my bank account and took all my money out of my bank account. Now that's pretty close to embezzlement. But they don't do both sides, because it's already been proven that the daughter had embezzled $45,000 from her mother, and possibly more. But they put a court order, I couldn't even check my bank account at any branch. Now, this all is about persecution of Christians, because I am a Christian and so is this lady. And all we want to do is live out our lives and be happy together. But no, they don't want this. Now, the caregiver has a history of overspending this woman's money, or whoever she's in charge of, overspending their money, and to the position that they had to sell the house, and then they put them in a nursing home. That's documented. They got, I got all the papers on that. Research done by the Wall Street Journal. And I got an email from this guardian, and I'll just give this one excerpt. But anyway, June 29th at 3:43, it was sent to me. Maintain current residence. Moving anyone with dementia is harmful. It can lead to a decline in physical, mental, behavioral, and functional well-being. This lady is familiar with her home she has lived in for many years, surrounded by items that anchor her memory and sense of self. I know you stated you know her best and you'd like to move her south. However, moving her away from her family, her medical team, and her dementia supported is not her best interest at this time. Well, that's a bit of a hypocritical statement I've ever heard in my life. What's the difference between turning her place into a prison, changing everything around, locking doors, keeping her out of her own place, and moving her to a place that's safe? And what's the difference in giving her a caregiver who has stolen from her 5 figures, $45,000? That's not pocket change. Or let it go back where I was at. I'm a giver, not a taker. The daughter's a taker. For 12 years, this woman's assets were being built up because I was helping her financially too, and she didn't need to have. But now they put a woman in as a guardian who's noted for taking away from her assets, spending her assets, instead of allowing me to marry this lady and build her assets. We don't even care about her assets. All we want to do is be left alone. I got enough income that her and I could live together a long time. I mean, I'm 84 years old. She's 83 now. And she asks me all the time, why won't they let us be happy? I can't answer that. Greed, the Antichrist, and Satan's soldiers. I wrote a song about it. You can see it on this website.